Gather around, friends. Your old friend Winter Wolf has a story to tell. One to warm your heart and maybe provide a word of caution. Many, many years ago, when Winter Wolf was but a young pup on an early solo hunt to the theater, he stumbled across pure movie magic. The original Jurassic Park chewed the King Kong-sized doors off the box office way back in '93 and left an indelible mark on the imagination of millions. Combining a brilliantly penned sci-fi novel by the late Michael Crichton, state-of-the-art special effects, and timeless memorable performances, Jurassic Park did for dinosaurs what the first Superman film did for superheroes. It made you believe. Jurassic Park made you believe that dinosaurs were real. They were awe-inspiring and terrifying all at once. They felt literally dragged out of extinction and plopped down in the middle of our world. But beyond the spectacle, there was a well-crafted story populated by characters that drew you into their plight and brought you along for the ride. Admit it, when that theme song hit, when those giant park gates opened and Grant got to see the Brachiosaurus for the first time, damn, chills to this day. It's a perfect blend of performance meets special effects meets score. Crowning the whole experience was a sense of wonder, of fascination, and most importantly, respect. We saw characters reveal a little bit more of who they are with each scene, and all the while as characters grew and changed, as they brought the best and worst of themselves to bear against an escalating series of threats and challenges that, while unlikely and improbable, never felt over-the-top fantastical. Grant goes from
point is, you are alive when they start to eat you.
To this.
I'm gonna look after you, but I have to go help you, brother. So I want you to stay right here and wait for me.
He left us. He left us.
But that's not what I'm gonna do.
A multitude of characters face their respective fears and utilize unique talents as they were called upon. There are also quiet moments like the scene where character motivations are revealed and we get a deeper understanding of what drives these characters to do the things they do, to feel what they feel. Sure, watching the dinosaurs come alive and do epic dinosaur shit was amazing way back then, but it was the subtle balance of character, tone, and setting that made for the something special of movie magic in a bottle. Without that, without people we could root for and against, without that fundamental understanding of what, why, and how those characters were thinking and feeling, you've got nothing but a dinosaur-filled stunt reel. Those were the days of great movies. Now, we have things like Jurassic World Dominion, a movie with genetically engineered dinosaurs, global conspiracies, and motorcycle chases through busy Maltese black market dino expos that had me constantly checking the time and wishing I'd been the one to go extinct. With the return of the original trilogy Big Three of Grant, Sattler, and Malcolm, I'd been hoping for a more nuanced, character-driven story and a rock-solid plot, but apparently Jurassic World thinks
We don't do that here.
Here's a synopsis. Several years after the events of Fallen Kingdom, dinosaurs are loose in the world, and for some reason humanity's just chugging right along like nothing's different. We get two lightly seasoned plot lines running parallel, and the combination of the two made for a bloated mess of a movie that tried to do far too much with its runtime. The first plotline sees Jurassic World mainstays Owen and Claire keeping watch over now teenage Maisie, the human clone from Fallen Kingdom who's wanted by the scientific world due to her unique nature. As kids with raging hormones and clone mommy issues are wont to do, she slips beyond the safety for her home and promptly gets herself kidnapped by a team of assholes working for Biosyn. Remember those guys? Owen and Claire resolve to get her back, while at the same time obliterating my ability to suspend disbelief and promising Blue the Raptor they'd recover her baby, also captured by the asshole bad guys for reasons. Meanwhile, in plotline B, Dr. Ellie Sattler has been contacted by world-famous chaostician Dr. Ian Malcolm to become part of a Scooby-Doo-style plot to expose evil corporation Biosyn, now led by Louis Dodgson from the original Jurassic Park movie. They're planning for global domination by way of controlling the world's food supply. They've engineered super locusts to destroy the world's crops while simultaneously cornering the seed market with ones they've engineered to repel the locusts. Sattler decides she'll need to call in an expert to help her recover and smuggle out evidence of Biosyn's evil doing. So who does she call? James Bond? Jason Bourne? The Fast and Furious family? No. She calls 80-year-old Dr. Alan Grant, quite literally talking him away from a dig site he's working on. Uninteresting, trite, predictably boring action sequences take place in the middle, and long story short, everybody meets up at Biosyn's remote base / dino sanctuary. When the two casts representing both trilogies, old and new, team up, they quickly determine they need to get the fuck out of Dodge and cut a power line to escape the pending dino doom. There's a little more to it, but I don't care, because most of it's pointless and stupid. The problem, boys and girls, wasn't the acting, or the dialogue, or the special effects. Once again, it's the story that falls flat, relying far too often on the hope that simple spectacle is enough to satisfy. And for this wolf, that sort of hope is less than vapor. Dominion unfolds in one half-baked scene after another, where increasingly insane, frenetic things just sort of happen. There's never any real thought put into the actions anybody takes, and that's just as well, because there's never any real sense of weight or tension. You never get the feeling anybody's truly at risk, and the one scene near the end that harkens back to the original's flipped-over truck scene with the T-Rex is played almost comically here. There isn't much here for the winter wolf to howl about and chew on, but to avoid being completely negative, I picked out a couple of things I did enjoy. Newcomer character Kayla Watts was a cool Han Solo-inspired addition to the team. She was funny, charming, and didn't take me out of the plot with any cringe dialogue or overacting. I honestly wanted more of her character and was disappointed they didn't give her a proper motivation to get involved. Han was in it for the money in Star Wars. Kayla initially resists helping Claire find Maisie, but then changes her mind just because. It's not the actor's fault. She played the part and looked damn good doing it. In my second howl, and this is all I can come up with, the several settings were gorgeous and very well shot. The cold weather environments of Owen's cabin and the Biosyn Sanctuary gave us some pristine winter wonderland imagery. But the more I think about it, seeing dinosaurs in snow-swept forests doesn't quite jive. Sorry guys, that's all I got for likes on this one. I had to scrape the bottom of the barrel for that. On to the snarls. Right off the rip, the world building is beyond stupid, even for a sci-fi flick about genetically engineered dinosaurs. There's about a 0% chance the world just tries to coexist with dinosaurs post-Fallen Kingdom. Dinos are apex predators and modern biome killers across the board. You'd have mass hysteria and chaos in every street in every country. The entire planet would have militarized and wiped them out. For fuck's sake, we're just getting out of a real-life pandemic of unknown origins that lasted 2 years and saw a fundamental breakdown of civil order, supply chain issues, suppression of civil rights, and toilet paper shortages over a virus with a 99.5% survival probability. But here, people are living in close proximity to fucking predators like raptors? Are you joking? There's pterodactyls nesting on top of the damn Freedom Tower in New York City. Do you want me to believe that the US Army didn't scramble a few wings of Apache gunships to take care of this shit? The opening scene with the mosasaur capsizing a deep-sea crab ship encapsulates this idiocy perfectly. Like the navies of the world wouldn't have mobilized and hunted these creatures back into extinction. They're not rabbits. They don't exactly reproduce in massive numbers with lightning speed. They want me to believe they couldn't have scrapped these things in the 10 years they had between Fallen Kingdom and Dominion? Get fucked, movie. I thought this was the worst aspect of Fallen Kingdom, and for some reason it got greenlit as a main storyline for the trilogy's final movie. I didn't care not one bit about this storyline, and every single time they went back to it I was bored out of my mind. Maisie's search for herself wasn't anything I needed in a Jurassic World movie. And it was made only worse by characters constantly blabbing about her mother creator being one of the greatest scientists of her day. Honestly, I didn't care. Now, if Maisie had been immediately introduced to some physical danger at the Biosyn lab where she was kidnapped and brought to, say the scientists slipped up and let her know she'd likely die as they tried to unlock her unique DNA, think Ellie from Last of Us. Or maybe she escaped captivity there and spent some time on the run in the Dino Preserve, that might have been a worthy story. But no, she sat around a lab. She was nothing but an unnecessary MacGuffin. Holy hell, the Owen Blue connection. Dude, he's not a dog. The subplot of promising to recover Blue's baby, who was also kidnapped alongside Maisie, may be one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in a movie that's playing itself seriously. My man, it's a dinosaur. They can't understand you like that. And the movie is expecting me to believe that Blue lives within hunting distance of a human town and no one's gone gunning for it? That's laughably ridiculous. The Big Three reunion. The reunion 3 decades in the making also feels off somehow. There's tragically little chemistry left between the big three characters of Malcolm, Grant, and Sattler. We get the obligatory Malcolm-Sattler flirt scene, but outside of that, none of them had much to do. And then I think of it, movie, up yours. You brought Dr. Alan fucking Grant out of retirement, and his big play in the movie was to pick up a giant bug? Fuck off, movie. You fuck right off. This was supposed to be Ellie's crack at headlining the Jurassic Park story, but they didn't do her any favors. There's no special skill or knowledge she was forced to draw upon in order to solve a problem or bypass an obstacle. Malcolm already had Ramsey assisting him on the inside of Biosyn, and since Dude was the acting second in command of the company, I struggled coming up for a reason why she or Grant needed to be there at all. So it amounted to a double McNuthing burger, and that's too bad. She deserved better. I also have a sneaking suspicion that writer-director Colin Trevorrow was trying to avoid some of the mistakes he watched Disney and Lucasfilms make firsthand with the Star Wars sequel trilogy. He got the fan-favorite original trilogy characters back together and managed to avoid embarrassing any of them. None of them died in disrespectful or pointless ways, and they weren't torn down to prop up any of the new Jurassic World characters. I appreciated that. And a couple of petty gripes as I usually do, boys and girls. I feel like I've seen this movie before. We get Owen doing the chill-out blue hand gesture thing about 1 billion times, and on dinosaurs he's never seen before. Like, how would that work exactly? He even gets help doing it. If only they thought of holding their hands up and standing their ground in the original movie. the whole thing would have been over in about a half hour. We get the obligatory motorcycle chase. Claire also gets hunted solo in a dino sequence, and while this one does feature a cool shot of her hiding underwater and the chasing dinosaurs roar vibrating the surface, it all feels like I've been here and done that. Neither Claire nor Owen grow or change, and while I didn't need them to revisit the need for couples therapy or anything, giving them something that separated them by choice or against their will, or just some other obstacle for them to overcome together would have been good. There's an obligatory throwdown for title of King of the Dinosaurs near the end. It's the most shoehorned in battle I've ever seen. It literally happens as the humans are skulking to their escape chopper, and it feels like somebody at the studio realized, oh fuck, we forgot the T-Rex, and just threw that shit in. It's a 1v1 between big-ass Gigantosaurus and T-Rex. Big G gets the upper hand, and it looks like the T-Rex is dead. Kayla fires a flare to grab the attention of some other dino combatants, until the T-Rex resurrects, a la Michael Myers style, and gets the W by slamming Big G into some dinosaur with giant Wolverine claws. Uninspired, boring, didn't care. I think overall the main problem with Jurassic World Dominion is that nothing is scary or logical anymore. People are outrunning dinosaurs in every scene. There's no building of tension, no limited glimpses of threats in the dark. Most of the time we're in broad daylight and in familiar settings that don't lend themselves to fear. People and solutions just simply arrive whenever the plot needs them to. Everything here feels superficial and glossy. There's a very disappointing, very glaring lack of the original theme music as well. And that's sad because the music 100% carries a heavy portion of the movie magic that Jurassic Park used to, with no heart, no soul, and is utterly forgettable. When the movie finally ended, it did so with a whimper that reeked of missed opportunity and disappointment. We get a flimsy, naive message of hope and coexistence, because apparently ain't nobody's learned a damn thing over the past decade, and is perfectly okay with living in a world where their children, homes, and lives are at constant fucking risk of being dino wrecked.
That is one big pile of shit.
That's all I got on Jurassic World Dominion, boys and girls. Looks like that second trilogy is going to finish up with the whimper instead of the bang we probably all hoped for. But that's enough from me. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought of Jurassic World Dominion. Maybe you brought your kids out. Maybe they love seeing the dinos. Maybe some of us old-timers like seeing the original three come back. But I'm going to probably never watch this one again. Smash the like button, subscribe if you like, and I'll see you guys in the next one.